We call it the safe house. Let's take a trip downstairs and I'll show you where the magic happens.
What we got right here?
Little something, man. I got this little plat. Chopped season 4, man. 100,000 streams. Actually, it's at 150 right now. This right here is actually my official Spotify playlist.
For real?
It's called This Is Chop God. Spotify did this for me. Shout out to the other countries that fucking with the Chop God.
Okay.
Yo, get in, Chop.
What up, y'all? This Chop God, the #1 chopped and screw DJ and producer in Atlanta, and you now tuned in to episode 3 of The Dan Show.
Chop. What's going on, my guy?
What's happening? We back.
Yeah, we back.
We did this before.
Yeah, right. You know that I had to have you back on.
Of course.
One of the early ones to bless the podcast.
Everything you need, man. I'm here.
Well, what's going on with you? What's been new with you?
A whole lot of working, man. A whole lot of music. A whole lot of, like, projects I got working on. I got, I feel like I'm basically in the summer league. You know how, like, you get drafted, you go through the summer league,
Yeah.
and it's like, you gotta play for your fucking real spot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially right now.
And that's where I'm at. Like, you know, I can run you through the whole story of it, but that's where I'm at right now. I'm in the summer league playing, trying to prove my point.
All right, so if you in the summer league now, let's go back to like middle school or high school. Let's go back to some origins.
Yeah.
How Chop go from summer league now. What led up to summer league?
So I became a producer around the time like 07, 08 or whatever. Just off the strength of, hey, you can post whatever you want on the internet at this point.
Yeah.
YouTube, SoundClick, whatever it was at the time. Soulja Boy was kind of like the biggest nigga, like doing it himself and just posting his songs that he produced, he wrote, and then he just put them out and made it $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
So
Let me know how many minutes in. We only like what 4 minutes in, 5 minutes in. The over under was how long until Chop big up Soulja Boy.
I wanted to start at the beginning.
Right? Yeah, no.
I can start at my life. Yeah, but Soulja Boy didn't.
I knew at some point Soulja Boy was gonna get a shout out. And
Yeah.
shout out to him.
Shout out to
Continue.
Soulja Boy. But that really legitimately was the beginning of like what? This nigga just did what? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody else did that.
Right. He dropped his own thing.
And so for me, as how old was I? Like 20, 21 or some shit like that. I'm like, this kid, 16, you know what I'm saying? Just fucking around with shit, making legitimate money. It doesn't really matter what the talent was, but he found a way to connect with a fan base. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that mattered to me, because I'm like, I don't like working these jobs. Like, whatever it is, I'm a creative.
And you say you're 20 at that time?
Yeah, I'm 21, 22. I wasn't the guy that was, I went to college and did all. No, I did a semester and said this wasn't for me, and said I'm gonna go to work. I worked the job.
I gave the old college try at 4 semesters.
4.
I tapped out after the 5th.
6 semesters.
Yeah, right. The old I just recently heard that term, the old college try, and I get what it means.
I didn't know it.
Sometimes you go after something and you realize this ain't it. This ain't.
So yeah, I didn't know what that meant, but I knew that college wasn't for me. But I was like, if my parents are not gonna pay for it, and I'm not gonna just take out this loan because this doesn't make sense. I can just go to GPC and see what the fuck this is.
Mm-hmm.
And after one semester, I'm like, this is literally like 13th grade. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand what the purpose of this is.
Right, and folks are only 19 and 20
Yeah.
years to go around. It's
So I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll find me a good job and I'll work. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. And at 19, I had a good job and was just working. And when you start to think about it, like, yeah, I'm young, making good money, working a full-time job. Everybody that I know that's my age, just that's at college and working these minimum wage jobs and not getting money, and they struggling. And I'm like, man, come with me, like, come with this money.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, that's not what I wanted to do. It was just like, I got to get some money. I got to figure it out somehow. So, like, that was my introduction to the real world, basically. Like, a lot of people that went to college, they got a chance to just chill and figure out what they wanted to do with life and blah, blah.
You got to wing it. You had years to wing it.
Yeah, mine was just like, go to work and get this money, which worked for the time being. But fast
keep
forward.
getting older.
Yeah, fast forward
You
to
be like, this check ain't worth a
So,
damn
like,
no more.
So this was about 2005. Around 2007, I'm like, this can't be life.
Yeah,
This can't be it.
Real quick.
It only took me like about 2 years to figure out, like, nah, I need to figure out something because I know that I'm worth way more than this. You know what I'm saying? I'm good though. I have a car, a Lexus. I'm stunting, whatever it is. But that's not what I strive for. It's like I already knew that I was a creative. I already knew that it was something more to me than just going to work and clocking in.
So how do you gravitate towards not only producing but specifically chopped and screwed style of producing? Where did that?
So that
tie?
came a little later, but as I mentioned about Soulja Boy, it was like, all right, well, not only did he produce these songs, he just kind of put it out by himself, which made me think that you didn't need anybody else. So for me, I'm thinking like, all right, I'm going to learn how to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to produce. I don't rap, but I'm going to find somebody that can rap on my songs and then just put them out.
Somebody's trying to get their career right.
Yeah, like trying to get my career right.
Go ahead, I'm trying. So, child, let me just let you know. I'm gonna try to keep this as serious and as professional as possible.
Oh, of course.
As soon as you start, I'm just letting it be him.
No,
As
it
soon as he
don't.
start, there's no coming
I be feeding off your foolery,
It ain't
and
no
that's
coming
why
back.
shit just gets off the rails.
Go ahead. Continue with the story.
But it kind of quickly became a thing to where I started meeting a bunch of people that rap, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, everybody that rap needs beats. I got a bunch of them. I don't know if they're good or not because I'm just starting. I don't know what, when I start playing it for people and they started calling me like, he's like a baby Kanye. He's a little Kanye or some shit like that. Or, Timbaland or, what I'm saying? They start saying shit like that. And I'm like, I'm really just messing around. But I know sounds and I know samples and stuff like that because that was hot at the time. That was like, the Kanye, the Just Blaze, the Swiss Beats, and, the super producers at the time. And I was kind of mimicking what they were doing. And for me, it kind of just worked because that's what I grew up listening to. I fell in love with music in that capacity in the early 2000s with the Neptunes and Timbaland and Kanye West, Swiss Beats, and those were like the super producers at the time. So I was just kind of figuring out how they was making music. You know what I'm saying? But I started to quickly learn that I was actually way better than I thought I was. You know what I'm saying? Because people were
I thought you were about to say that you was way better than Pharrell.
no.
I was gonna be like, where the Slate at? Me and this nigga from
No,
the fight.
the point of me saying that is people were intimidated by my beats
Yeah, they thought
Like-
she was finna pull up with some mid-ski.
with some bullshit,
Yeah.
basically. And even just a year in, people were just like, like you made that? Like,
So how old are you then?
this is like 2007, 2008.
Yeah. This
You
is
know what I'm
after
saying?
This Can't Be Life. This is just
Yeah, so this is kind of like I'm just making my way, like finding my own sound at this point.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing in the first year I was making beats. It was just a hobby or whatever. So I started working with this artist named Scotty ATL. He was making his rounds, performing all around the city and stuff like that. And went to the studio a couple of times. His DJ, Burn One, I met him. We did some stuff or whatever, but that didn't really work out just because I had to learn like my own sound. And at the time, I was just working with anybody that wanted beats. So at that time, I'm just making whatever they wanted. You know what I'm saying? I want a beat like this. I want a beat that sound like this. Me being also like a DJ at the same time, I can do that easily because I listen to a lot of different type of music. You know, I can DJ a lot of different type of situations because that's it. Like,
Now, how long have you been DJing, or have that just come hand in hand with producing?
hand in hand with producing.
Okay.
Producing comes first.
It makes sense. Every producer I know knows how to DJ.
Right.
And they don't even, they say, I only do this for fun. Like,
Exactly.
I don't. I'd be like, how come you don't make a little mixtape, a little DJ tape or whatever? Or why don't you do this as the other half? And they're like, no, this is only for when my friends are over.
So,
and
yeah.
I don't want nobody else touching my fucking mixer. And so, like, I don't want nobody
So
else.
I mean, for me, that comes a little later. But I'm doing, these songs. They shooting a couple of videos for my beats, and I'm like, man, I'm thinking it's lit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not really knowing what I'm doing because I'm young. I'm 22 or something like that. I'm thinking like, this is the gateway to the industry. I'm about to be lit. I'm about to be the next Kanye and all this type of shit. Nah, it don't really work like that. You know what I'm saying? And I had to learn that the hard way. But at the same time, it's like, it's all a learning experience for, what's going on right now. So to kind of fast forward, that led me to just crafting my own sound as far as making beats.
Mm-hmm.
And I say around 2012, I started going into the chopped and screwed realm. It's like, one day it was just kind of random. I was listening to a Slim K tape, which he's a part of the Chop Stars.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a Drake mixtape. I think it was like Take Care, Chopped and Screwed or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to it and something struck me with that mixtape. It was just like, this sounds like it should sound to me. Like, when I play it, I'm like, this is the Drake album that should go out to the masses. Just just in my brain, I'm
And
like,
you'd heard of Drake a time or two before that, right?
yeah, this is 2012, so
Right. I'm just messing. I know that you love Drake. I know you love his music.
Yeah.
Like not him, like personally. I know you love Drake.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, hey, you probably heard of that guy before.
I mean, billion streams. Everybody has heard of Drake. So, at the time, it just intrigued me that new artists would be chopped and screwed because for me, all I knew was Mike Jones, Paul Wall,
Yeah, it was just
Chameleonaire, Bun B, UGK. These are just, I'm used to those chopped and screwed. And then when I hear Drake, it's like, wait, I ain't never heard that before. So that made me say, this is a whole nother lane that I can open up. I hit up Slim K directly, and he hit me back. He was like, "Yo." I mean, I asked him like, "How did you do this? Like, can you guide me? Like, what programs did you download? What like, can you help me?" Just on some random shit, and he hit me back. It was like, "Hey man, you can use this, you can use that, blah blah." And I said, "Okay, download that. I can figure it out on my own at that point." You know what I'm saying?
I was mighty nice hit you back.
Yeah,
I wonder how many inbox messages like that he's seen before.
But see, I was early on it. That's what
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, this wasn't something that everybody was on at the time. Like I said, everybody's used to the Mike Jones and the Paul Wall and just the Houston chopped and screwed. So when I hear other artists, and Drake was probably 3 years in the game, like he's pretty new.
Right, around 2010, 9, or
Yeah,
the very
so-
first thing.
So I'm like, I've never thought of chopping and screwing new music.
And by that time, that wave was a mid 2000s wave. So by the time 2012 rolled around, ain't nobody even think about chopping and
Ain't
screwing.
nobody thought about it.
So it was a cool.
So for me,
Yeah.
that rang a bell to like, hey, I can chop and screw new music
Yeah.
and make it sound like the early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? The Houston sound. And that's what I started doing. It started picking up from there. I can't remember what sites that I was first started posting onto, but of course, like SoundCloud and DatPiff and Spinrilla and AudioMac. Spinrilla and AudioMac was the ones that kind of just took off. SoundCloud kept taking my music down.
I was gonna ask how you get around getting your shit taken down all the time.
It's kind of just a fuck it. Like, you got to get into a fuck it mode because it's like you already know that they're gonna take it down eventually, but can you grasp a meaningful amount of fans in that time period before they take it down? So as far as YouTube, I ended up with 1 million views on the Beyonce album, the Drake album, a couple of different albums, and then of course once it gets too much, they're gonna take it down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the same thing happened with SoundCloud. SoundCloud, I was just everything. I'm just throwing everything out there. So, every strike that you get, it's like, oh, okay, they giving you a warning, and then they gonna take it down. I said, fuck it. You just gotta get into that fuck it mode to where it's like, it don't matter. I'm just gonna keep going. I just gotta get as many folks to get on my wave before they just say fuck it, because I'm getting some attention.
Now, if you
from
get
this.
too many strikes, once you get banned from the platform,
You can just make another email.
there's ways around that.
Yeah, it's like they're gonna scare you, but it's like,
So
Nigga.
like ideally you do try to make it to work around it. But if
Yeah.
but you do know in the back of your head that even still with those efforts.
So keep in mind, this is around 2013, 2014. I'm just trying shit at the time. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I know a little bit better nowadays, but like starting off, it's like this is getting thousands of views when I post it, hundreds of comments when I post it. People are grasping onto this. I have to keep going. I can't just be like, nah, they're gonna take it down, so I'm not gonna post this. No, nigga. Like, keep going. Keep posting this shit. And then if they take it down, make another account, post it back up, keep going. Now, this is just promotion because I'm not getting any money off of this. You know what I'm saying? So that turned into like, well, years of like mixtape after mixtape after mixtape, just feeding my fans because they already know the shit's gonna get taken down. I started trapgod.com around 2014, 2015 to where nobody can take my shit down because it's my website. You feel me? So I just started putting up all my new songs on trapgod.com, and then I started seeing some traffic from there. At that time, still working a job, still like, what am I gonna do because none of this is making money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's about to be my next question is from 2015 to like where you are now, like the past 5 years, at what point do dollar signs start being equated behind
Yeah.
the work?
So 2016 was really kind of like the turning point of like I have to figure something out. I was working with a lot of artists that I know, and they my good friends. Shout out to Dope Tomorrow. Shout out to Lanes Cobain. We was working on a bunch of projects at the time that I would kind of co-produce, and I started to learn that this was kind of my true love as producing whole projects. You know what I'm saying? Like the Chopped and Screwed thing was like one-off thing that just kind of worked for me. It wasn't a true passion of mine.
It sounded like it worked as a vehicle for you to drive you to the point
Exactly.
you're talking about now.
Yeah. And I started to be like, yo, if I can really just work with a bunch of artists that are passionate as me about music, I can provide the production and you just provide the lyrics and the flows and all that type of stuff, and I can produce it the way I want it. That's really my passion at the end of the day. You know, I like DJing, I like chopped and screwed shit, I like all that type of shit, but at the end of the day, it's all started with music. Just listening to a whole project from front to back and thinking like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're able to tell a story instead of just going chapter
Yeah.
song by song, like
You know what I'm
breaking
saying?
it down.
So year after year, you know, we just trying to figure it out. And you know, a couple of songs came out here and there that I produced and blah blah. But like you said, there's no money coming in. It's kind of just doing it for the love. I mean, at the time, that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? I'm still working my day-to-day job. But I did have a job that I was like, I don't want to be at this job when I turn 30. And I quit. This was 2016. And 2016, I was like, you know what? This is it. I turned 30, and I started a new job. I started growing my hair out. It was kind of like a turn for me that was like, if I'm 30 and I know that where I'm kind of headed, then this is the start of that.
Yeah.
And so
It's funny how 30 is a lot of people's turning point, whether
It's the
they
milestone year.
like
It's
plan
definitely-
for it or not. It seems like once you start pulling up to it, and then you're that age, you have to start implementing some action. It can't just be basically you use your 20s to practice the excuses of why you ain't got your life together.
And
So,
so-
when they ask you why your life ain't, you're like,
Yeah.
well, I'm young. I don't really know what I want to do yet. Still trying to figure it out. But once 28, 29 roll around, still trying to figure it out just sounds goofy. Because once you 30, Auntie Mary and Grandma Nene
They like-
is gonna be like, you need to get your shit together, or she's gonna be like Uncle JoJo
you don't want
downstairs.
to be an Uncle JoJo.
Right. Shout out to any of these
Uncle
names. You know,
Uncle
if you-
JoJo.
Hey,
You happen to
that's
fall
just
in
a
these
generic
names.
name.
My
you know.
nephew's looking at me like, oh.
That's
okay.
just a generic name. We're not talking about
Grandma Nene. Look at me, Nene Leaks.
But that was the turning point for me. Not saying that shit just turned around, but it was a stop, and I can no longer do what the fuck I was doing before I was 30.
Yeah.
So that was the stop, and like, all right, well, I got this new job. Well, I can figure out how to be creative at this new job because now it's on my terms. I can figure out what I can do on my time with my energy, and everything is on my terms.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what the payout is, I felt that having things go on my terms was more than just the money, the coming in, the paycheck and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was just like, what can I do with this time that I have that, you know, at this job I can come and go as I please, but I have to be responsible with that because I have to bring
Still
in
gotta
money.
make the money, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of like a full-time job, but I'm working at my terms.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And my passion starts to come first at that point because it's like because I have the option. You know, when I had the full-time job, it was like, no, nigga, I'm a number at that point. Like nobody, they don't give a fuck about me.
Yeah.
when I left, it was like, okay, now that I can figure out shit on my own terms, what am I gonna do with it? So I stayed in the studio at, you know, ridiculous hours, just trying to figure out my next move. The Chop God thing was fizzling out.
And what year is this?
This is 2017. And I'm just working at this point. And kind of lost. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what was going on. But the job started going good. Which is good and bad, of course. Because it's like, yeah, I'm making money, but I'm losing my passion for my music.
Yeah, a job will have you distracted real quick.
Killing any creative spirit you got.
So this was 2017, and the real test for me came in 2018. I can talk about this now because I don't work no job no more. But it was an incident where I went to jail for about 3 days because I fell asleep behind the wheel, and I was just like, I was way too comfortable. I mean, I was coming from a DJ session, and then, but I was just living life because I'm making money, and I'm just like, Nate, can't nobody touch me. I'm good. And I got humble real quick.
Good old reality.
I got humble real quick. 2018. This was around this time, Memorial Day around this time, and it was like, oh shit, this shit real. But I didn't know what happened to me at that time, so I got a lawyer and I tried to fight it, and then I saw the dash cam and I was like, oh yeah, I did that.
That
That was me.
That was me.
They got you in 4K.
The lawyer was like, I can't do nothing about this,
yeah,
mama.
it's like, yeah. Go ahead and pay for the sessions up to this point, but after this, I'll just be stealing your money.
So I had to pay the lawyer. I got on probation after that. Had to pay that. So that's 2018 to 2019. Broke from paying both of those things.
Yes.
Lawyer fees and probation fees. Shit. Depression.
Oh my God.
So
Do you not have a license at this time either?
so that was a great thing. I got to keep my license. I got to keep my job also because they didn't figure out what the hell happened because I was working on my own terms.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't
there was
have to.
nobody to report to.
Yes, I didn't have to tell them.
Yeah.
They just had to figure it out, and they
Yes.
never figured it out. So I was coming to work.
They just don't. They probably just run MVRs up upon you getting hired,
Right.
and
So
not after that,
whatever.
or maybe
So
once a year. Who knows?
who knows? So I was just coming to work, not knowing. I was just like, hey, nobody knows what the fuck happens. I can keep doing this. Hey, I can still, bruh. If I would have lost that job, I don't know what the fuck would have happened because I wouldn't have been able to pay the lawyer, pay the probation fees, and all that type of shit. Like,
Yeah. Pay Zaxby's.
and even with all that, I was still broke.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, 2019 was a wash.
Yes.
I was depressed because I couldn't be creative.
Now, I don't want to get too personal in like a depression based question. Did being depressed lead you to work out more?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I find that seems to be a common thing. The
Yeah.
most fit I ever been was in 2018, and that's when I lost my best friend.
So
And that made me just, I couldn't stay. When I woke up in the morning, it was either go to the gym or think about that shit. And the entire morning period was me and LA Fitness. To the point where I look at these little videos on Snapchat and stuff from like 3 years ago, and I'm like, damn, Dan. Are
need to
you
get
ever?
depressed again.
Yeah, right.
I need
Some bullshit need to have some new bullshit need to happen.
bullshit need to happen.
But
So-
go ahead.
so-
I definitely asked you that because obviously I know you're my friend, and that was like you had gone through a transformation physically.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this nigga is swole now. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So yeah, that was literally every day after work. I would climb Stone Mountain and go to the gym after that.
Yes.
Because I just have to keep something on my mind. I have to keep active. I have to do something because I just knew that I wasn't going to slip into a depression that was just going to take me out. But it took me out of the creative space that I should have been in the whole time. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, I had a couple albums on Spotify, and they took all that music off.
I remember that. That was
And the
just-
money that I was making
Yeah.
took all that shit.
Yeah.
On top of what the fuck was going on. So, you know what I'm saying? I had some shit to think about.
Well, we were talking about on Cooking with Dan, the short-lived last go at
Yeah.
it. Hopefully this won't be that. That's what we was talking about. You had just posted those on. That was at top of 2018. You had just posted all that Spotify stuff,
Yeah.
And then now
I was on the top of the world. I was
Yeah,
like,
now-
oh yeah, this is
and now
lit.
it's just like, yeah, now it's gone.
It's gone. I have lawyer fees. I have probation fees to pay for. That's 2019. 2020, I get off probation. Pandemic happens.
So where are you at with it, March wise, with your life pre shutdown? What progression had you pushed past with 2020 being a new year? You know,
Everything was lit.
new year, new you. Right?
I was like, yo, I'm off probation. I have a lot of energy to do all this shit that I wanted to do
yeah,
that I couldn't do because I was fucking depressed and everything. On top of that, well, I didn't pay for the therapy session, but I did go to therapy in 2019. And I mentioned that because it didn't hit me instantly, because I'm like, this shit just made it worse because I have to think about all the shit that she said and all that bullshit, blah, blah. But then 2020 came around and everything is supposed to be all good. March comes around and then I get furloughed. I get laid off. Well, not laid off, but furloughed. But I don't know what that means at that point, because I'm like, nigga, everything was all good. What y'all talking about? Now it's real. Now the pandemic is real. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I can just chill out the crib and figure it out. They put me on unemployment, and I'm like, hey, y'all getting this shit too? Y'all getting this money too? Like, I'm trying to keep it quiet, but like, wait, they paying me more now
than it was.
than I was at work. What y'all talking about? Oh hell yeah! It's time to turn up now, because this is what I've been trying to do. I just didn't have the means to do it.
and then it just fell into your lap inadvertently due to pandemic.
Right. And I'm like,
And you're like, wow, I couldn't even dreamt this ideal scenario
but
up.
that's like realistically what I didn't even say dream, but that's what I prayed for. I prayed for
Just
like
the resources and the ability to fuel your passion.
Just to be able to be free enough to really dig into what I want to do with my life. You know what I'm saying? Whether that is being a trap and screw DJ or a producer or whatever it is. That was the time to where like I have to recognize this time as this is what I prayed for.
So furloughed in March or what? At
March
what
going
month?
into April.
And the job just went away,
Yeah.
gone. At any point early in that, of course, the honeymoon phase of the unemployment checks kind of had to phase away at some point.
Of course.
And then I'm sure at some point it has run through your head, do I even try to get another job?
So what
I
happened?
know that not only that one thing, tunnel vision, was on your head. I know you
Right.
had to been thinking of like, okay, like,
Stressed out.
I know they not finna just keep sending this money
Yeah.
like this.
Exactly.
Like, I
This
need
is-
to figure something out. My job done chumped me off, but it opens up a lane for you to do your own thing. But you also
So-
know the own thing is also temporary for the moment.
Right.
With
This is-
with the new developments.
This is all summer. I'm thinking
Yeah.
about this stuff, and I'm like, well, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this looks like, but I have a lot of money in my account. So I don't know. All right, well, I can figure out exactly what I want with my life. I can just say, I can figure out what makes me happy. Because I was literally at the house every day just thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because money is coming in, and I'm like, but they're gonna call me to come back to work at some point. So what happened was they did, and I said this was about July to April-ish. I was like, no, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's about to happen, but this is enough for me to understand that I can't tell y'all that I'm going back to work for y'all.
Right. And then come August and September, you'd be like, oh, well, yeah, another round of furloughs. Sorry about
Right.
that.
Yeah.
It's like y'all already
And on top of that,
already spit me out the one
it
time.
was a lot of, you know what I'm saying, Black Lives Matter going on. It was a
Oh,
lot
yeah,
of,
last summer was
it
a
was
very
it was-
turbulent
it-
one.
It was crazy,
Yeah.
and you know, shout out to y'all, but you know, the people that I was working for, I knew that they didn't care about none of that shit.
Yeah.
And I felt some type of way if I would be like, yeah, and then work for y'all
Right.
at that time.
Yeah.
I was just like, nah.
Good old US of A. You're more than likely working for an employer that don't care about those
Yeah,
issues.
you know what I'm saying?
So that sucks for the common workforce, man, to stand for one thing and be passionate.
Mm-hmm.
But then your first wake up call is you clock in to work the next day and be like, I'm working
I
for
didn't-
the thing
Yeah.
that I'm not so pleased about.
I definitely
But
didn't
it
want
is what it is.
I definitely didn't want to
These
be that
coins.
person, and I had to take a stand on that. You know what I'm saying? It was like, no, we're good. You know, I had to turn in all my stuff and everything. Like it was at that point it became real to me.
Yeah.
It was like I literally don't have a job.
You in the ocean now.
Yeah.
Before you might have been in the 3 feet
Mhm.
and just kind of waiting.
But at that time, I learned I don't need a job. You know what I'm saying? Because I know exactly what I'm spending at this time
Yeah.
because I'm at home all the time.
Yeah.
I know
And
it's-
nothing's open.
I know exactly what I need. I know it's not a big deal about the money at this time. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So it's like, And I have a bunch of experience in that realm. So if I feel like I need to get another job, fine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not even about the job. So I had to think about that. That it's not even that important. You know what I'm saying?
Half of America had to come to a wake up call about their employee with the employer-employee relationship, what it truly stands for, no matter what like foundations or moral stances that the company on paper claims that they stand for, or what they say on the commercials. When things like the pandemic happen and then you get furloughed, or basically they have to make a decision to close down for good or not so good reasons.
Right.
You know, we won't get into that. You realize, like, oh, these folks don't give a shit
Don't
about
give
me.
no fucks.
And, you know, the interesting part about it, and it's not interesting. I mean, it is interesting. It's not like
It's not a surprise.
it's not a highlighted thing that I'm about to say, but there's a misconception across the corporate workplace or just the corporate structure. If you go to an office, is that if you're a manager or if you're this high level guy, you are separate from the peons and the ground level, the line level employees.
No.
But you don't have a job either, just like I don't now.
You can got
So we're both right. We both went from Thursday. You was making $90K and I was making my 40, and used to talk to me like I'm nobody. To now, you make nothing. I make nothing. I can live off my unemployment check. Can you?
right.
Because you got a condo.
Right.
And
You got
a bit,
way
right.
more expenses.
Yeah,
than me.
you floating on this little cloud and this bubble of like non-reality, but then when that motherfucker gets popped, you then fall amongst the common man, and now you looking around like, oh shit, like my wife probably finna leave me now.
Right.
Like,
You have way more to
soon as this
lose.
economy-
than
so, like, my point in that is, you know, unfortunately, but fortunately too, it was a wake-up call for a lot of Americans to evaluate: is it worth me working for a company? Is it worth me putting myself out there enough to where a company can hit me up on Monday and say, hey, don't even come in, my boy,
Right.
and we don't know when you're coming back. Now you went from having a sustainable life and income to nothing for, reasons that are or aren't justifiable.
We don't know.
The going into that doesn't matter. It's
Right.
just your best interests aren't in the company you work for.
Yeah.
So,
And
and it's just maybe that's my opinion, but I think we can look at the data last year and see how many people are still unemployed because their whole industry went away, or because their employer just decided to just liquidate. It's like, you know what? Nah, I don't need servers anymore, or I don't need this anymore. In fact, I made more money without having to pay people like that. It's a new weird shift that we're going into in this new economy and what the workforce truly looks like.
Yeah.
I have people come to my job all the time. I work in Buckhead, and they are like, I still can't get people to come to work. And it's just like, well, how much you paying? I be feeling they pain about having a business and having overhead, but like another wake up call that people realized last year is that like my life ain't worth these 11 and 12 and in some cases $5 and $7 an hour. So how much are you paying? Have you restructured that business model? Because I'm sure you can get somebody to leave their house. It's just right now they realize, like you said, I'm straight.
Right.
I could make that money doing TikTok dances
Right.
every week.
Value your time more.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
continue. I didn't mean to take
No,
over
I
there
mean
for a second.
that's basically the thinking. It was kind of an independent mind state. It was like I really don't. I mean, for me, I don't have kids and I don't have a family, so I'm responsible for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what money I need to bring in, and I know for myself that I don't need that much.
Yeah.
I'm not no flexer. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I know what it is. And when it comes to the creative space, I know what to invest. I know how to make something look how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? As far as to get my brand out there more. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I started working on. I started working on my merch. I started getting my T-shirts going. My phone cases. I got bags. I got a bunch of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm selling my merch. As far as my production, 2021, I met this guy named Big Hef. Works with Def Jam. Works with 300. And this was kind of the first time I was kind of called in to work at a big time studio, like major label type shit. And it was kind of like, well, this is my time to show and prove. I have the time to do this. I'm not working a job, and this session was booked for 3 days, 12 hour shifts of these 3 days. And I know that if I was working a job, I would never been able to do
Oh,
that.
yeah. It would have been a huge conflict of interest. They would have just stopped hitting you up.
Right.
That's just how that works.
So in my mind, I'm like, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for.
So this is more recent what we talking
This
about
is
now.
January 2021.
Yeah. Cool.
January 2021. Now, let's rewind to December 2020. Y'all remember when it was some talk about black people getting superpowers and shit?
Yeah.
So the day before that happened,
Your hand turned green?
I don't know what happened, but something felt different, right? And then I started talking to one of my homies, and he was kind of saying the same thing. So I was like, all right, let's see what happens, right? So the next day, that's when the whole superpower thing's supposed to happen, blah blah, and then it was kind of normal, whatever. But every day after that, every person that I talked to, we had like the realest conversations about just whatever, transparent as fuck.
So you turned into talk nigga after
Yes.
the Super
And I
Bowl
didn't
time.
know why this was happening, but these are people that I've known for decades,
Yeah.
and we've never talked about real shit like this.
Yeah.
And then it was like, all right, 1 week. The next week, a next set of people I started talking to, and these were people that I probably met for the first time, you know, through mutual friends, and we just start talking about whatever, and everybody feels so comfortable talking to me about like whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, all right, next week, January, you know, New Year's comes around. That week of New Year's, it keeps going. I'm having conversations with my family members that I've never like talked to like that. The next week, same thing. It's like, I don't know.
It
Everybody,
started some weird momentum.
yeah, it was like everybody that I've talked to.
So you still riding that hill? Is it still going? Because now
It's-
you're here chatting with me.
Well, it's
Have you had a conversation like this in a while?
no. This is the
Or
time.
while you're on top of the refrigerator with the broomstick, with the Capri Sun.
But I mean, it's what, May now.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Right.
I'd say it stopped around at the end of January.
Yeah, folks stop picking up the phone. You just trying to talk. Like, what were we just talking about the other
But
day?
see, this is what happened in the end of January. This is the 3-day session that I had
Yeah.
for 12 hours for 3 days in a row. I was in the studio. I would present beats. The artists would write their raps, write their hooks, and they would go into the studio, go into the booth, rap, next song, boom, next song, boom, next song, boom. And I'm like, wait, is this how it works?
Mm-hmm.
Because,
Professionalism?
yeah, I'm like, I've never seen this before because I've been waiting for this whole time because
Yeah.
a lot of people have been just bullshitting with my shit for so long. I'm like, oh, now that I'm in a big time studio, this was YK Osiris' studio at the time. Well, it's still a studio, but I'm thinking like, well, this nigga is signed to Def Jam. There's got to be some people in here that's about to be somebody at least, and it seems so. So this was all constructed by Big Hef, and after that 3-day session, I got 4 placements, and I'm like, wow, I never thought that this was really like for real.
Yeah.
Like in 3 days, I got 4 placements. Okay, cool. The next couple days, nigga hit me up and he said, "Are you signed?" He said, "Are you signed?" I was like, "Nah, I'm just kind of working on my, working on my brand. I'm trying to figure things out." And he was just like, "I'm looking to get you on the team. I'm looking, to see what you got." Next couple days, I get the phone call. He's like, "Man, let's see if we can get on a conference call with my other, people, my other managers and blah blah."
Mm-hmm.
Next couple days, I get on the phone call. Everybody's like, "Yeah, man, like we trying to get him on the team, blah blah," and it's like, man, this shit is really about to happen for me. Like, I don't know what this even is, but I know that anytime that y'all put me in a situation to make things happen, and that's what I did. You know what I'm saying? So, that happened. This was in February. February, I got into a studio with one of Big Hef's artists, and things didn't go the same way, but I had to understand that that's okay. Like everything is not gonna go the same way that,
Oh yeah, of course.
you know what I'm saying? Because that was like the once in a lifetime experience. The first time that
Things went right when they needed to.
things went perfect, and then it was like, okay, well, this is, you know, we'll figure it out next time. So now I'm starting to learn how the industry goes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not for play no more. This is like, well, if this don't work, it don't work, and you shouldn't have any feelings towards that. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, because something else could happen.
Yeah, that's just the formula.
It's just the formula. It's just how it's set up. And this is the first time I'm seeing this.
Yeah.
This is February, and I'm like, well, I like this way better than how it was, to where there's no structure to it. It's like,
just all dreams.
it's just
all
yeah.
speculatory
I'm the
thoughts.
hottest nigga. You should sign me and blah blah. No, I can see how this works. These people are signed for a reason. They get these streams. They get these. They have fans already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They meet the check marks.
Yeah.
Check marks are the only thing they look at.
Yeah.
Yo, get in, Chop.
Customize your lifestyle with J-Sky. Resin art that is handcrafted with love in each piece. Affordable home decor that'll make your home that much more special. They've got a wide range of items such as personalized coasters, ashtrays, candle holders, bathroom, living room, and kitchen decor, plus so much more. Get that special missing piece with your home with J-Sky. Please follow her on Instagram. That's J-Sky Lifestyle. JSKY Lifestyle, and Facebook, Justine Danielle. That's Justine Danielle with 2 L's for any inquiries.
He signed to Republic. He's a, major label artist.
Mm-hmm.
I had to listen to his music to kind of get the vibe of it. And he told me, send me, 6 or 8 beats. I'm in the studio with him, blah, blah. I send him the beats. This is like 4 a.m. And the next day, he's in the studio with him, and he's like, "We got a single. This might be a hit. This is to one of my beats." And I'm like, "Damn, nigga! Like, this is how it works. Like, you know what I'm saying?" So I'm like, "Man, if this can be every day of my life, I'll be very."
It sounds like
I'll be very satisfied. I don't have to, wear the chains. I don't have to put on a facade for people. I don't have to do the shit that I don't want to do about the industry. I can just be like, "Yo, are you available? Are you in the studio? Hit up people and blah blah." I don't even have to be there, and I can make a hit record. And I'm like, well, if that's the rest of my life, I'm fulfilled, because that's all I wanted in the first place. I don't want the fame. I don't want the glitz and the glamour. I'm a creative. I want to be recognized for my work.
well, the glitz and the glamour is a dangerous game to play these
Well,
days,
because
particularly in Atlanta.
Because I'm an older, I
and you're older.
can understand that. I probably would want that back in the day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
In my 20s, you know what I'm saying?
It's that testosterone. You want to just shit on everybody.
Exactly.
Right. Well, I'm definitely glad that the 2019 to now was a transitionary roller coaster that sounds like you are up on the up and
Yeah, and this is
from-
all new for me, so I don't know what's about to happen for me. But like,
good things.
whatever is about to happen,
Good
if
things.
it don't even happen, I'm fulfilled, because I set out to do something that I said I was gonna do. Because I refuse to go back to work. You know what I'm saying? It's been over a year since I've worked for somebody. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
that's a blessing.
yeah. So it's like,
God, it's a blessing.
man. And I
It's
did
a blessing that
I-
shouldn't have been a blessing. It's an
Right.
inadvertent blessing. It's a blessing that was supposed to be tragedy for your life.
Exactly. So
But
it's, for
you-
me, it's like I did something with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
so it
awesome.
makes me feel good. Of like, yeah, and I don't know if that would have happened if I would have just succumbed to the pressure of like, I need this check, I need this job. And I wouldn't have been able to go to these studio sessions and work and network and meet all these people and do all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, now that we are in kind of a transitionary period into going back into things opening up and concerts and shows are being released. What do you have on your radar for how you kind of want to tackle the second half of 2021 now that you can do stuff again and you can kind of press the gas forward? And also, what concerts are you looking forward to?
The first part of your question, I'm gonna say that I'm looking to sign new producers. I'm looking to have a production team, actually. So when I get into the space that I want to be in, I want to get all of the producers that I know, and so we can just work on everything just together. I don't have to produce everything. It's not about me. You know what I'm saying?
So you can get everybody's career right.
Right. Get everybody's career right.
Career right. We've been doing a good job, John. We did a good job.
We're doing a good job.
The people might be a little underwhelmed. They're going to be like, I thought these two niggas going to be acting up like they did with the Nigga Man episode of the morning after episode.
No, I mean, I want to provide some substance to the people. Like, this is real life.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
for
saying?
sure.
This is I'm a creative to the core, and you know, these past couple of years show me that like this is not a game to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my life. Simple as that.
You want to shout out anybody and tell people where they can find your merch website?
I want to shout out Akil Amari, Dope Tomorrow, Lance Cobain. Where you can find my stuff is on my link tree in my IG page, The Chop God, spelled correctly. And you can get t-shirts, phone cases, all types of merch, bags, joggers, tank tops, all types of stuff. My Chopped and Screwed albums are on Spotify, Apple, wherever you can find them. I do have a instrumental album out. It's The Gods 2 by Dope Tomorrow. I produced every song on that. And I do have a Chopped and Screwed album out by Cobain. It's called A Night in Houston. It's a 3-track EP that I chopped and screwed. And
Shout out to Lance Cobain.
yeah, man, I got a lot of stuff going on. It's just this new chapter. Like I said at the beginning, I feel like I'm in the summer league. You know, I'm drafted. I just have to show and prove. I have to figure out where I'm gonna land. You know what I'm saying? So my focus really is production. I'll just say that.
What concert are you going to be turned up the most at this year? Because
So
I have a handful in mind.
a handful. Best concert I've ever been to is Travis Scott's concert. If Future goes on the on tour, what else? I don't know. No, I'll take that back. I've seen Future too much. J. Cole from this new album.
Yeah.
If it goes on tour, I would likely go to that one. Who else? Do you have any?
Well, I thought you was going to go to the Travis Scott in November with the opening guest, Wyclef. What?
Why, Clef?
Wyclef. Wyclef would come out. He said it because that concert's in November, right?
It's gone to the.
Right. So
You
Wyclef,
get it?
yeah,
Gone to
Wyclef gonna
November,
come out.
Wyclef.
Wyclef gonna come out and just get on the mic talking about some. I'm back.
And
Would be
everybody's gonna be
winking.
so
Everybody be
confused.
like-
I said I'll be gone to November, right?
I'd be like,
Why?
Why,
Clef?
Clef?
Why?
There's no way I could insert that inside joke before I wanted to be able to fully elaborate on it, but yeah, the Wyclef joke had
Yeah,
us
that was
rolling.
We was
Talking about some,
rolling.
I'm back. Hey guys, I'm back. You
Why?
just pan everybody's face. You're like,
Fuck is you doing?
Like
I
what?
look like Travis Scott.
Wyclef.
Wyclef, yeah. In the opening act, Wyclef. Well, Wyclef. Well, you know. Shout out to Wyclef. Shout out to Fugees. The Score is one of the best hip hop albums ever.
I fuck
I'm
with
not throwing
Wyclef.
no shade
The
at
Carnival
Wyclef.
album.
Right.
It's way
Yeah,
too
like-
late for that.
I'm
Way
not throwing
too
no
late for
shade
that.
at Wyclef.
Yeah, man.
He is,
If you're watching Wyclef,
right, like it just
I
was a
fuck
joke,
with you.
and we were hammered at 4 a.m. and we just couldn't.
we couldn't resist.
It's gone till November, and
nigga
don't
say
nobody want to see you
Wyclef.
walk across that stage out of a pandemic. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. I really appreciate y'all tuning in to these episodes. I truly would appreciate it if you subscribed, and also if you only want to listen to this, like if you only listen in the car at work. We at this point we're on all of the platforms. There'll be links in the description for Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, whatever. And yeah, we gonna keep making these episodes as long as y'all keep fucking with it. Make sure you follow Joe at this point. You know the Twitter handles. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Dan the Creator. Also follow at the Dan Show Pod. We're trying to build those pages up, and we want to make special content for those pages too. Thank you so much. We are out. Thank you, Chop Guys, so much for blessing me. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You gonna do your clap?
Yeah.